I've been type 1 diabetic since the age of 9. I've had 2 children, both of St James's, and I've had a difference in care throughout each of the pregnancies. James was almost full term, he was born at 38 weeks, caesarean due to breech, and Charlotte born at 34 weeks. With my pregnancy with James, I had a midwife throughout. However, I didn't get to see him on that many occasions. The times in clinic were up to 5 hours sometimes. There were quite lengthy appointments, and I didn't have a child at that point, so it didn't seem to matter as much, although in this pregnancy it would have mattered with a 2-year-old being with you. The pregnancy that I had this time with Charlotte, I did see a massive improvement in care, basically because the care was a lot more personalised. So I saw a midwife at 4 weeks pregnant. As soon as I found out, I got a midwife come straight to my house, and I saw her throughout my pregnancy. Every 2 weeks in clinic, she used to come to my house to talk about your private life, or just anything, just to get to know you a bit better. And then she'd catch up with you in clinic, and she knew about your story, she knew about your care, your individual needs. That was really helpful, because being type 1 in pregnancy can be quite an isolated experience. You've got all these pregnant women around you that you meet in groups who have wonderful pregnancies because they're all healthy and they've got no risks. Whereas you're testing your blood every 1 to 2 hours, you're up all night. I've been to A&E, ambulance trips, and it can feel quite isolating. You do feel like you're maybe not doing as good of a job, but when you've got somebody on hand at all times that you can message, that is there for support, that you see every week, week in, week out at clinic, it just makes it that bit easier whilst you are going through that high-risk pregnancy. And it was Kathy, the midwife, that I contacted at 34 weeks because of her advice that she'd given me due to having a few hypos in one day. Who gave me the advice straight away by text message at 7 o'clock on a bank holiday weekend on an evening, because there was nowhere else to call really. And she gave me the advice to go straight to maternity assessment, to see a consultant that she'd ring ahead to let them know I was coming. And because of that advice, I went in and I was at risk of placenta failure because of my hypos. That led to Charlotte being born two days later by caesarean. And it was that advice and that personalised care and being able to message somebody at any time that led to the safe arrival of Charlotte. And I would hate to think of what would have happened if I didn't have that personalised care and that facility to just message her. It was no problem because she was my midwife. I didn't have to re-explain my story to somebody every time I had an issue. It was just straight away, here's the advice you need, you can deal with it. And because of that, it led to the safe arrival of Charlotte, albeit 6 weeks early, but it was down to her that she's here safely, I feel. And going back to the clinic times, with James, with my pregnancy with James, I could have been there 4 to 5 hours at a time. You'd see the midwife, you'd see the dietitian, you'd see the obstetrician, the consultant each time. But because it weren't as streamlined, you'd had maybe an hour in between seeing each person, and it just was a really drawn out process. A long time for you to be there on your own in a waiting room, a really hot waiting room at that as well. In this pregnancy, the improvement, because of the streamlined process that I think the midwives have brought in, the new midwife team, you could be there 2 hours, and although it seemed like a long time, it was so much quicker and so much better that you could be in and out. You could see the right people, you got to see the same consultant each time. I got to see the same lady almost taking my blood each time, taking my blood pressure, and it just felt like it was a lot more personalised. People were on first names terms, they were asking how you were, your pregnancy's going quick this time, this, that and the other. And it just felt like it was a lot better. It would have been better if I'd have had that experience in my first pregnancy, being a new mum, but obviously it came in handy having a 2-year-old at my side as well. If I were to think about how my care could be further improved, like I said, I saw the same midwife each time, the same consultant, dietitian, etc. However, you didn't see the same obstetrician each time, and I felt that I'd have to re-explain my story. Towards the end, that got quite frustrating. So I think probably I saw maybe 5 to 6 obstetricians in the entire time, and I can't put a name to a face, unfortunately, like I can everybody else. That would definitely be something that I could see as an improvement. Another thing that could be improved, I thought, was maternity assessment, and also the midwives on the ward having a bit more knowledge of diabetes care. I did find whilst I was in antenatal, on the antenatal ward before having Charlotte, it was probably my worst control throughout my entire pregnancy at the most important time, due to, I think, the midwives not having the correct knowledge or the up-to-date knowledge, or maybe the depth of knowledge that some of the specialised midwives might have.